There are moments, rare, unrepeatable moments, when something invisible reaches into your ordinary life and interrupts it without warning. Not gently, not casually, but with a force that feels almost impossible to ignore. And this right here is one of those moments. You didn't stumble onto this message. You didn't randomly click at the right time. And no, this is not just another video passing through your day. Something deeper has happened. Something intentional. Something precise. Because out of millions of voices, out of endless distractions, out of everything you could have been doing right now, this message found you. And the question is, why you? Why now? Think about it. What were you doing just seconds before this? Were you scrolling mindlessly? Feeling a little tired? Maybe even carrying a quiet weight you haven't told anyone about? That heaviness, that restlessness, that unexplainable pull to keep searching for something more that wasn't random. That was alignment. Because when heaven wants your attention, it doesn't whisper politely forever. It interrupts. It redirects. It places something directly in your path that you cannot unknow, cannot unhear, cannot ignore without consequence. And right now Archangel Michael is doing exactly that. He is not reaching out casually. He is not sending a soft suggestion. This is a divine interruption. And here's what makes this even more unsettling and powerful. Somewhere deep inside you, you already knew something like this was coming. You felt it, haven't you? That strange sense that something is shifting but you couldn't explain it. The feeling that you're standing on the edge of something important but you don't know what it is yet. The moments when everything feels normal on the outside, but inside something is stirring. Something is calling. Something is trying to break through the noise. That wasn't anxiety. That wasn't overthinking. That was a signal. Because before a major breakthrough arrives, there is always a moment like this. A moment where everything pauses. Where time feels different. Where your spirit is pulled into awareness whether you're ready or not. And listen closely, not everyone gets this moment. Not everyone is interrupted like this. Not everyone is chosen to hear this kind of warning before something shifts in their life. But you were. And that's where this becomes serious. Because this is not just about being chosen, it's about what you do after being chosen. Right now, there are two paths opening in front of you. You may not see them with your eyes, but they are there in the spirit. One path leads to alignment, clarity, and a miracle that has been waiting for the exact moment you step into position. The other path looks almost identical at first. It feels familiar, comfortable, easy to ignore this message and keep moving like nothing happened. But that second path carries something dangerous. It leads to delay. And delay, in moments like this, is not neutral. Delay is loss. Because when heaven sends a message like this, it is not just informing you, it is positioning you. And positions can be filled. This is why you feel that tension right now. That slight pressure in your chest. That quiet voice asking, what if this is real? That pull telling you not to scroll away just yet. That instinct to stay a little longer. To listen a little deeper. That is not coincidence. That is your spirit recognizing something your mind is still trying to understand. Archangel Michael is not just reaching out to you, he is standing at the threshold of your next moment. And this message, this exact moment, is the doorway. The question is, will you step through it? Or will you treat this like everything else and let it pass? Because what happens next depends entirely on what you choose now. Type I am ready in the comments if you feel this message stirring something inside you. Blessing code 717 is now activated around your path. There is something you need to understand right now, and it may challenge everything you thought about timing, patience, and waiting. You've been told your whole life that what is meant for you will always find you, no matter what. That if something is truly yours, it cannot pass you by. But in moments like this, moments of divine intervention, that belief is only half the truth. Because when heaven moves, it moves with precision. And when heaven calls, it calls with timing. And right now the timing is critical. This is not one of those seasons where you can pause, think about it later, or tell yourself you'll come back to this when you feel more ready. This is not a message you bookmark and revisit when it's convenient. This is a now moment, a narrow window, a spiritual opening that has already begun and is already starting to close. You may not feel it in your hands, but your spirit feels it. That slight urgency, that subtle pressure, that quiet sense that something important is unfolding faster than you expected. That is not anxiety. That is not imagination. That is heaven accelerating something around you. Because there are moments in life where delay is harmless, and then there are moments where delay changes everything. And this is one of those moments. Archangel Michael does not interrupt timelines without reason. He does not step into your awareness without purpose. When he comes forward like this, it means something has reached a critical point. It means something has been prepared, aligned, and positioned, and now it is waiting for one thing only: your response. And here is the part many people don't realize: heaven does not force alignment. He invites it. You are not being pushed into your next step. You are being called into it. And that means you have a choice. A real, powerful, irreversible choice. You can respond or you can hesitate. You can move or you can wait. You can step into alignment or you can stay exactly where you are. But what you cannot do is pause time. Because while you are deciding, things are still moving. Doors are still shifting. Positions are still being evaluated. And opportunities are still looking for someone ready enough to receive them. This is why the urgency feels so real right now. Because you are not the only one being prepared. You are not the only one being positioned. There are others unseen, unknown, but ready, who are also waiting for their moment to step forward. And heaven is watching. Not to judge you, but to see who is ready, who is listening, who is willing to move when called. You may have noticed this pattern in your life before, even if you didn't fully understand it at the time. Moments where something felt right, felt aligned, felt like an opportunity meant specifically for you, but hesitation crept in. Doubt whispered. Fear delayed your action. And by the time you were ready, the moment had passed. Someone else stepped in. Someone else said yes. Someone else moved while you were still thinking. And later you found yourself asking, what if I had acted sooner? That question, that lingering feeling, is not coincidence. It is memory. It is awareness. It is your spirit reminding you that timing matters more than you think. And now here you are again. Another moment. Another call. Another chance to respond differently. Archangel Michael is not just warning you about what is coming. He is warning you about the cost of hesitation. Because what is being offered to you right now is not permanent by default. It is permanent only through alignment, through readiness, through action. There is a difference between being chosen and staying chosen. Being chosen means the opportunity has found you. Staying chosen means you recognized it in time. This is why heaven is not quiet right now. This is why the message feels intense. This is why you feel pulled to stay, to listen, to go deeper instead of moving on. Because something in you knows this is not something to delay. You are standing in a moment that will not repeat itself in the same way again. The same conditions, the same alignment, the same open door will not stay open forever. And the longer you remain undecided, the more that window begins to shift. not because you are being punished, but because heaven continues to move forward. And here is the truth that changes everything. The miracle you have been waiting for is not waiting forever. It is waiting for someone ready. So the question is no longer, is this meant for me? The question is, are you ready to receive it now, or will you watch it move past you while you hesitate? Type "I move now" in the comments if you feel the urgency in your spirit. Blessing code 222 is now activating divine acceleration around your life. There is a truth you were never told, not because it was hidden from you, but because it requires a level of awareness most people are not ready to accept. And that truth is this: destiny is a flow, and within that flow there is movement, there is order, and yes, there is a line. You may not see it with your physical eyes, but in the spiritual realm, positions are real, assignments are real, timings are real. And right now, you are standing at a very specific point in that line. A position that was prepared for you, held for you, and aligned with everything you have been through up to this moment. But listen carefully, that position is not permanently locked. It is held, but it is not force. Because heaven does not operate on control. It operates on response. And behind you there are others. Not enemies. Not strangers meant to harm you. But souls who are also waiting. Also preparing. Also being shaken for moments like this. They are not trying to take anything from you. They are simply ready to step into whatever becomes available. And that is where this becomes real. Because if you hesitate, if you ignore, if you treat this moment as optional, the flow does not stop. The line does not pause. The opportunity does not freeze in place waiting for you to feel comfortable. It moves forward to the next person who is ready to say yes. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you. Because for too long, you have believed that everything assigned to you will wait endlessly, no matter how long you delay. But deep inside you already know that is not how life has worked for you before. You've seen opportunities slip. You've watched doors close. You felt the sting of realizing you were close but not aligned in time. And now, Archangel Michael is revealing something you cannot afford to ignore. There is something prepared for you right now, something significant, something that carries the weight of your prayers, your patience, your struggles, and your growth. But it is not just sitting still. It is active. It is circulating. It is searching for alignment. And you are at the front of that line right now. But what happens next depends entirely on what you do with this moment. Imagine this clearly, not as a metaphor, but as a reality unfolding beyond what you can see. A door begins to open. Light starts to pour through. Your name is called. Not loudly, not dramatically, but with certainty. It is your turn. Your moment. Your opportunity to step forward into something you have been waiting for. But instead of moving, you pause. You think. You question. You hesitate. And in that hesitation, something shifts. The call does not echo forever. The door does not remain open indefinitely. And the line does not disappear. Someone behind you hears the same call differently. They don't overanalyze it. They don't delay it. They feel it and they move. They step forward into the same opening that was meant for you, not because it was stolen, but because it was received. That is how spiritual timing works. That is how alignment functions. That is why this message carries urgency. Because this is not about losing something that belongs to you. It is about recognizing that what belongs to you must be received in time. It must be met with readiness. It must be embraced when it arrives, not when it feels convenient. And here is the part that will settle deep within you. The person behind you is not more deserving than you. They are simply more ready in that moment. and readiness is what determines who steps forward. You have been prepared for this. Every delay, every challenge, every moment of confusion has been shaping you to recognize this exact kind of opportunity. And now that it is here, you are being asked one simple, powerful question. Will you move? Or will you what? Because watching feels safe. Watching feels controlled. Watching allows you to stay where you are without risk. But watching also keeps you in the same place while everything else moves forward. This is why Archangel Michael's presence feels so strong right now. He is not just protecting you. He is positioning you. He is standing at the threshold of this moment, making sure you understand what is at stake. Not in fear, but in clarity. You are not being rushed without reason. You are being called with purpose. And purpose does not wait for comfort. It responds to readiness. To feel this moment fully. Do not push it away. Do not minimize it. Do not convince yourself that you can come back to it later. Because later is not where this opportunity lies. It lives now. And the line is moving. Type "I step forward" in the comments if you are choosing alignment over hesitation. Blessing code 333 is now sealing your position in divine timing. As you feel this moment stirring in your spirit, understand this. Every time you respond to a message like this, you are not only stepping into your own alignment, you are helping light the path for someone else who is still searching in the dark. This message, this voice, this warning, it reaches further because of those who choose to act, to give, to sow into something greater than themselves. The word says, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days," and right now, that promise is alive, breathing over you. I feel led to say this directly. I am stepping into obedience in this moment, and through me, others will find their way. When you give through the PayPal link in the description, or the QR code on your screen, you are not donating, you are planting into a harvest of souls, into a movement that carries truth where confusion once lived. This is your moment to act, not later, not eventually, but now. Release your seed and watch heaven respond in ways you cannot predict. There is a difference, a powerful, unmistakable difference between a gentle idea and a divine command, between a passing thought and a voice that carries authority. And right now, what you are experiencing is not a suggestion. That is not a motivational whisper. It is not something you can file away as inspiration and revisit later. This is a command, not from fear, not from pressure, but from divine authority that understands what is unfolding around you in ways you cannot yet fully see. Archangel Michael does not speak into moments like this lightly. He is not the messenger of casual guidance or optional reflection. He is the protector, the enforcer, the one who steps forward when something has reached a level that requires clarity, precision, and immediate response. When his presence is felt this strongly, it means something has crossed from possibility into urgency. And that is where you are right now. You may have heard many messages in your life. Encouragement, advice, guidance, even warnings. But this feels different, doesn't it? There is a weight to it, a firmness, a sense that this is not something you can negotiate with or reshape to fit your comfort. It stands as it is, clear and direct, asking for one thing only: your obedience. And that word obedience may stir something inside you. Not resistance, but recognition. Because deep within you, you already know what it means. It is not about control. It is not about losing your freedom. It is about aligning yourself with something higher than your current understanding. It is about trusting that the voice calling you sees what you cannot, knows what you do not, and is guiding you toward something that requires your immediate cooperation. This is why Archangel Michael's voice carries such intensity right now. Because what is being asked of you is not complicated, but it is decisive. Woo. Pay attention. Do not delay. These are not suggestions to consider when you feel ready. These are instructions meant to position you before something shifts. And here is what makes this even more powerful. You have heard this kind of voice before. Not necessarily in words, but in moments. In those times when something inside you said, "Act now," and you hesitated. In those instances where clarity came quickly, almost instantly, but doubt followed right behind it, slowing you down, making you question, making you wait. At first voice, the clear one, that was alignment. That was guidance. And often that was the closest you came to a moment like this. But hesitation softened it. Overthinking diluted it. And the moment passed. Archangel Michael is not allowing that pattern to repeat right now. This is why the message feels sharper, stronger, more direct. Because this is not the time for soft impressions. This is the time for clear direction. You are being called to recognize the difference between your thoughts and divine instruction. Your thoughts wander. They question. They circle around possibilities. They look for comfort and certainty before acting. But divine instruction cuts through all of that. It arrives complete, clear, eternal. And it does not wait for your full understanding before asking for your response. That is what you are feeling right now. A clarity that does not need explanation. A pull that does not require proof. A knowing that stands firm even while your mind tries to analyze it. And Archangel Michael's role in this moment is to make sure you do not ignore that clarity. Because ignoring it has consequences. Not punishment but displacement. Not loss of word but loss of position. When a command is given and not followed, the flow does not stop. The assignment does not disappear. It simply moves to where it will be carried out. That is how divine order functions. That is how alignment is maintained. And you are being given the opportunity to remain in that alignment. Right now. There is something else you need to understand about this moment. A command from Archangel Michael is not given to test you randomly. It is given because you are already capable of responding. Because you are already prepared enough to take the step being asked of you. Because everything leading up to this moment has been shaping you for this exact response. You are not being asked to do something impossible. You are being asked to act on what you already know. And that is why there is no room for delay here. Because delay does not come from lack of ability. It comes from hesitation. From overthinking. From waiting for a level of certainty that is not required in moments like this. Divine commands are not followed because everything feels comfortable. They are followed because something deeper than comfort is calling you forward. Something stronger than fear is pulling you into action. And something more important than understanding is asking for your trust. Archangel Michael is not just speaking to you, he is standing with you, watching how you respond to this moment. Not judging but observing. Not pressuring but guiding. Making sure you understand that this is not just another message to hear. This is a moment to act. So listen again, not with your ears, but with your spirit. The instruction is clear. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Do not treat this lightly. Move. Type "I obey" now in the comments if you are choosing to respond without hesitation. Lesson code 444 is now activating divine authority over your next step. Before this moment, before this message reached you with such force and clarity, there were signs. Not loud, not overwhelming, not impossible to ignore at first glance, but subtle, repeated, and precise. And now, as you stand in this moment of awareness, something inside you is beginning to connect the dots. because this is not the first time heaven has tried to get your attention. Think back not too far, just enough to feel it. There were moments when something felt off, even when everything around you looked normal. Moments when you paused for no clear reason. Moments when a thought came to you suddenly, almost interrupting your routine, whispering something you couldn't fully explain. A feeling to move differently. A sense to avoid something. A quiet nudge to act or to stop. And what did you do? You questioned it. You softened it. You told yourself it was nothing. Those were not random thoughts. Those were warnings. You see, heaven rarely begins with intensity. It begins with gentleness, with impressions, with small signals that give you the chance to align without pressure. Because true guidance does not force itself, it reveals itself, step by step, allowing you to recognize it, trust it, and follow it willingly. But when those gentle signals are ignored, they do not disappear. They grow stronger. You may remember certain patterns now, clearer than before. Times when you kept seeing the same numbers, the same phrases, the same ideas repeating in different forms. Conversations that felt strangely timed. Words from others that seemed to echo something you had already been thinking. Dreams that felt more real than usual, leaving you with a feeling you couldn't shake even after waking. Those were not coincidences. They were confirmations. But confirmation only works when it is received. And if it is not, it becomes repetition. That is why the signs kept coming. Not to confuse you, not to overwhelm you, but to give you multiple chances to recognize what was being shown to you. To wake you up gradually, so that when a moment like this arrived, you would already be prepared to understand it. Yet something always happened. Life got busy. Distractions pulled your focus. Doubt stepped in quietly and told you not to take it too seriously. And just like that, the moment passed. But here's the truth that Archangel Michael is revealing to you now. Nothing you experienced was wasted. Every sign you missed, every nudge you ignored, every moment you delayed has been leading to this exact point. Not to shame you, not to make you feel regret, but to bring you into awareness. To show you that this pattern is real, that it has been repeating, and that right now you have the chance to respond differently. Because what is happening now is not the beginning of the message. It is the escalation. The gentle whispers have turned into a clear voice. The subtle nudges have become direct instruction. The repeated signs have formed a single, undeniable moment of truth. And that is why this feels stronger. Because it is. Archangel Michael is not speaking at the level of suggestion anymore. He is speaking at the level of revelation. He is showing you that everything you sensed before was preparing you for what is being revealed now. You were not wrong. You were not imagining things. You were not overthinking. You were perceiving, but you did not fully trust it. And now, trust is exactly what is being asked of you. This is where everything shifts. Because once you recognize the pattern, you cannot unsee it. Once you understand that those past moments were real, that they carried meaning, that they were leading you somewhere, you are no longer in the same position as before. You are aware. And awareness changes responsibility. Before, you could ignore a feeling and move on without fully realizing what it meant. But now you know. Now, when something speaks to you with clarity, you recognize the difference. Now, when a moment carries weight, you feel it more deeply. And that means your response matters more than ever. This is why Archangel Michael is bringing your attention back to those missed signs. Not to dwell on them, but to show you that this moment is not isolated. It is connected. It is part of a larger pattern that has been unfolding around you, slowly, patiently, until you were ready to see it clearly. And now that you see it, the question becomes unavoidable. Will you respond this time? Or will this moment become another memory of all this? Because the signs will not always repeat the same way. The next opportunity will not look exactly like this one. The same clarity, the same timing, the same alignment will not remain available indefinitely. This is the point where repetition and then decision begins. You are no longer being hinted. You are being told. And what you do now will determine whether this moment becomes the turning point or just another sign you remember later, wishing you had acted when it mattered most. Type ISE the signs in the comments if you are choosing to recognize and respond this time. Lesson code 555 is now activating clarity and awareness in your path. There is a movement happening right now that most people never become aware of, not because it is hidden, but because it requires a deeper level of perception to understand. It is the movement of divine exchange, the quiet, precise shifting of opportunities, breakthroughs, and miracles based on alignment rather than intention alone. And this is the part that changes everything about how you see this moment. You have believed that your miracle is yours simply because it was promised, because you have waited for it, because you have endured enough to deserve it. And while all of that carries truth, there is another layer that cannot be ignored. A miracle is not only assigned, it is received. And reception depends on alignment in the exact moment it arrives. This is where the spiritual exchange begins. Imagine something prepared for you, something real, something already set in motion. It carries your name, your story, your timing. It has been shaped by everything you have gone through. It is not random. It is not accidental. It is intentional. But as it moves closer to manifestation, it does not pause and wait indefinitely. It looks for readiness. It responds to alignment. It settles where it is welcomed, not where it is merely expected. This is why miracles can be redirected, not stolen, not taken by force, but transferred through readiness. And this is what Archangel Michael is revealing to you now with absolute clarity. What is meant for you is approaching, but it is not inactive. It is not frozen in place. It is active, moving, seeking the point of alignment where it can fully land and unfold. If that point is you, it stays with you. If that point is missed, it continues moving. This is not punishment. This is not rejection. This is divine order functioning exactly as it was designed. Because heaven does not hold back what is ready to be released. It releases it into the space that is ready to receive it. This is why the urgency in this moment is not exaggerated. It is precise. Because what you are feeling right now is not just awareness, it is proximity. You are close to something, closer than you have been before. And that closeness carries both potential and responsibility. There have been times in your life where you felt like something was just within reach, but it never fully arrived. You felt the anticipation, the buildup, the sense that something was about to happen, but then it faded. It shifted. It moved in a direction you did not expect. And you were left wondering what changed. This is what changed. Alignment. In those moments, something was ready, but the connection was not complete. The response was not immediate. The action was delayed. And in that delay, the flow continued. A miracle did not disappear, it redirected. Someone else stepped into the alignment that was missed. Someone else responded without hesitation. Someone else received what was already in motion. And now, you are standing in a moment where that pattern can either repeat or be broken. Because this time, you are aware of it. This time, you understand that what is coming toward you is not guaranteed to stay simply because it was once assigned. It stays because it is received in the moment it arrives, It remains because it is met with readiness, not hesitation. This is why Archangel Michael's voice had been so direct, because what is approaching you now carries significance. It is not a small shift. It is not a minor change. It is something that has the potential to alter your direction, your path, your next season. And it is moving. The question is not whether it exists. The question is whether you will meet it. Because meeting it requires something from you. It requires presence. It requires awareness. It requires a willingness to act without overanalyzing, without delaying, without stepping back into the comfort of waiting. This is the moment where expectation must turn into action, where knowing must turn into movement, where awareness must turn into alignment. And here is what you need to hold on to. Your miracle has not been lost. It has not been given away. It is still within reach. But reach requires movement. Reach requires response. Reach requires that you do not stand still while everything else is in motion. You are not being asked to do something complicated. You are being asked to recognize the moment for what it is and step into it fully. To trust that what is being shown to you carries truth. To understand that this is not random, not accidental, not something you can postpone without consequence. This is your opportunity to remain in alignment, to receive what has been prepared, to stop the pattern of almost and step into the reality of now. Because the flow is moving whether you act or not. The exchange is happening whether you respond or not. And what determines the outcome is your willingness to move with it. Type "I receive what is mine" in the comments if you are choosing alignment in this moment. Blessing code 666 is now activating divine reception and alignment in your life. There is something happening around you at this very moment that you cannot fully see, but you can feel it. It is subtle, almost invisible, yet powerful enough to influence your focus, your decisions, and your timing. It does not arrive loudly. It does not announce itself clearly. Instead, it works quietly through distraction. And this is where the hidden battle begins. Because while heaven is trying to reach you with clarity, something else is trying just as hard to pull your attention away from it. Not through fear, not through obvious resistance, but through subtle interference that feels normal enough to ignore. Think about how this moment almost did happen for you. How easy it would have been to scroll past, to click away, to tell yourself you would come back later. How many times today alone your attention has been pulled in different directions, each one small, each one seemingly harmless, but together creating distance between you and this exact moment of awareness. That is not random. That is strategy. Because the easiest way to disconnect you from your alignment is not to confront you directly, but to distract you just enough that you never fully step into it. To keep you busy, occupied, slightly overwhelmed, just enough that when a moment like this arrives, you are not fully present to receive it. And if you are not fully present, you cannot fully respond. This is the hidden battle. It is not about stopping you completely. It is about slowing you down just enough, delaying your clarity just enough, clouding your focus just enough, so that when the moment to act arrives you hesitate. And hesitation is all it needs. You may have noticed this pattern without fully understanding it. Moments where you intended to do something important, something meaningful, something aligned, but something small pulled your attention away. A notification, a thought, a sudden feeling of tiredness, a distraction that seemed insignificant at the time but ended up shifting your entire direction. This is how the battle operates. Quietly, consistently, effectively, because it does not need to overpower you. It only needs to redirect you. Archangel Michael is revealing this to you now because what is at stake in this moment requires your full awareness. You cannot afford to be partially present. You cannot afford to treat this as background noise while your attention drifts elsewhere. Because what is being offered to you right now requires focus, clarity, and immediate response. And anything that pulls you away from that is not neutral. It is interference. You may feel it even now. A part of your mind wandering. A thought suggesting you can come back later. A quiet voice telling you this is too intense, too urgent, too much to fully engage with right now. That voice is not aligned with your next step. That voice is part of the distraction. Because alignment feels clear. It feels direct. It pulls you deeper, not away. It focuses your attention, not scatters it. It does not ask you to delay. It calls you to act. And right now, there are two forces present in this moment. One is pulling you toward clarity. The other is pulling you toward delay. One is sharpening your awareness. The other is softening your urgency. One is guiding you forward. The other is encouraging you to pause. And the difference between them is subtle but critical. Because the one that pulls you forward feels firm, steady, undeniable. It does not argue with you. It does not try to convince you with endless explanations. It simply calls you clearly, directly, and waits for your response. The other one feels easier, more comfortable. It tells you there is no rush, that you have time, that you can think about it later, that you do not need to act immediately. But here is the truth: comfort in moments like this is not always alignment. Sometimes, comfort is distraction in disguise. And Archangel Michael is making sure you see that clearly right now. Because what is approaching you does not wait for perfect conditions. It does not wait for you to feel completely ready. It does not wait for every distraction to disappear. It arrives and it requires you to choose despite the distractions. This is why this moment matters so much. Because it is not just about recognizing the opportunity. It is about recognizing what is trying to pull you away from it and choosing differently. You are not powerless in this. You are not being overwhelmed. You are being shown the pattern so you can break it. So you can notice when your attention starts to drift. So you can recognize when delay begins to feel comfortable. So you can catch the moment before it passes. This is your awareness activating in real time. This is your clarity sharpening in this exact moment. This is the point where distraction loses its power because you see it. And once you see it, you can choose against it. You can choose to stay present, to stay focused, to stay aligned with what is being shown to you right now. Because the battle is not outside of you. It is within your attention. And your attention determines your alignment. Type "I stay focused" in the comments if you are choosing clarity over distraction. Lesson code 777 is now activating protection over your focus and direction. There is a reason you were placed at the front of this moment. A reason you felt this message before someone else did. A reason your spirit recognized something here that others would scroll past without a second thought. And that reason is not random, it is intentional. You were positioned. Long before this moment ever arrived, long before you became aware of what was unfolding, something was aligning around you. Your experiences, your struggles, your delays, your growth, your questions, all of it was shaping you, moving you, placing you exactly where you are now. Not accidentally, not loosely, but precisely. You are not here by chance. You are here because you were chosen to be here first. And that truth carries weight. Because being first in line is not just a privilege, it is a responsibility. It means you were given access before others. You were given awareness before others. You were given the opportunity to respond before others even knew there was something to respond to. That is what it means to be chosen in moments like this. But here is where many people misunderstand what being chosen really means. It does not mean everything will be easy. It does not mean everything will be handed to you without effort. And it does not mean the outcome is guaranteed regardless of your response. Being chosen means you are given the first opportunity. What you do with that opportunity determines everything. This is why Archangel Michael is bringing your attention to this truth right now. Because you may have felt overlooked before. You may have felt like others were ahead of you, like others were receiving what you had been waiting for. You may have questioned why certain things seemed delayed in your life while others moved forward. But what you could not see is that your positioning was being prepared. Your timing was being aligned. Your moment was being held until you were ready enough to recognize it. And now that moment has arrived. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer behind. You are at the front. Right now. And that position is not something to take lightly. Because while you are standing here, present, feeling the weight of this moment, there are others who are not yet here. Others who are still in earlier stages. Others who will recognize this kind of moment later, not now. You have been given the advantage of awareness, the advantage of timing, the advantage of being called first. But advantage only matters if it is used. This is where the shift happens. Because being first in line does not automatically mean you receive what is coming. It means you are given the first chance to receive it. It means the opportunity is presented to you before it is presented to others. It means you are being trusted with the moment before anyone else steps into it. And trust requires response. Archangel Michael is not reminding you of your position to make you feel important. He's reminding you because he knows what is at stake. He knows that if you do not recognize the value of this position, if you treat it casually, if you hesitate while standing at the front, the flow will not stop. It will move. And someone else will step into the position you were given. Not because you were unworthy, not because you were rejected, but because you did not respond in time. This is the part that must settle within you right now. You are not just another person hearing this message. You are the one who heard it first. You are the one who felt it deeply. You are the one who paused and stayed when others would have moved on. That is not coincidence. That is positioning. And now, the only thing that remains is your decision. Will you honor the position you have been given? Will you recognize the moment for what it is? Will you move forward while you are still at the front, or will you hesitate until the line shifts and you find yourself wondering what happened? Because once the position changes, it does not return in the same way. The same alignment, the same timing, the same access will not repeat itself exactly as it is now. This is why this moment feels so real. Because it is. You are standing in something that has been prepared specifically for you, and you are being asked to step into it fully. Not halfway, not later, not eventually. Now, this is where chosen becomes confirmed. This is where opportunity becomes reality. This is where position becomes possession. And it all depends on what you do in this moment. Type "I honor my position" in the comments if you are choosing to step forward while you are first in line. Blessing code 888 is now sealing your place in divine alignment. As this truth settles into your spirit, understand that being first in line is not just about you, it is about every soul still waiting behind you, searching for the same clarity you have just received. When you act, when you give, when you sow into this message through the PayPal link in the description or the QR code on your screen, you are not supporting a channel, you are releasing light into someone else's darkness. The word declares, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy," and right now, your seed becomes a voice that reaches the ones who are still lost in confusion. I declare this with you. I step into my position, and through me, others will find their way. This is not a casual moment. This is a prophetic action. Give now, move now, respond now, and watch how heaven multiplies what you release into something far greater than you imagined. There is a moment in every person's life where the weight of a decision is not measured by how difficult it is, but by how long it is delayed. And right now, you are standing inside one of those moments. Not a casual decision, not something small that can be postponed without impact, but a moment where waiting carries consequences you may not immediately see but will eventually feel. Because delay is not neutral. Delay is not harmless. Delay is movement in the opposite direction of alignment. You have been taught to believe that waiting is safe, that taking your time protects you from making mistakes, that hesitation is a form of wisdom. And in many situations, that is true. But in moments like this, moments of divine timing, waiting is not protection. It is separation. Separation from the exact alignment that has been prepared for you. And this is where the consequence begins. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but subtly, almost quietly at first. You delay a response. You tell yourself you will act later. You convince yourself that you need more clarity, more confirmation, more certainty. And while you are doing that, everything else continues moving. The flow does not pause. The opportunity does not freeze. The timing does not wait. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to drift out of alignment with the moment that was once directly in front of you. This is how delay works. It does not feel like loss in the beginning. It feels like comfort. It feels like control. It feels like giving yourself space to think. But what it is actually doing is creating distance. Distance between you and the moment. Distance between you and the opportunity. Distance between you and the miracle that was within reach. And the longer that distance grows, the harder it becomes to return to the exact position you once held. Because that position does not remain unchanged. You may have experienced this before without fully understanding it. Times when you felt close to something important, something significant, something that could have changed your direction, but you waited. You hesitated. You told yourself you would come back to it. And when you did, it was no longer the same. The energy had shifted. The opportunity had moved. The clarity you once felt was no longer as strong, and you were left trying to reconnect to something that had already passed its moment. That is the consequence of delay. Not immediate loss, but gradual disconnection. Archangel Michael is bringing this to your awareness now, because this moment cannot be approached with the same mindset as before. You cannot treat this like something that will remain exactly as it is while you take your time. Because it will not. This is not about pressure. This is about truth. Because truth removes illusion. And the illusion you are being freed from right now is the belief that you can always return to a moment later and find it unchanged. You cannot. Moments shift. Opportunities evolve. Timelines move forward. And when they do not recreate themselves in the exact same way. This is why this moment feels different. Because it is. You are not just being given awareness, you are being given a choice that carries real consequence. Not to harm you, not to punish you, but to show you that your response matters more than you may have realized before. Waiting will not protect this moment. Waiting will not preserve this opportunity. Waiting will not keep you at the front of the line. Waiting will move you out of alignment with it. And once that shift happens, it cannot simply be undone by deciding later. Because later belongs to a different moment, a different alignment, a different position, This is why Archangel Michael's message hath been so direct, so firm, so clear. Because he is not speaking to your comfort, he is speaking to your awareness. He is making sure you understand what is happening now so you do not look back later and wonder what went wrong. Nothing will go wrong. Everything will simply move forward, with or without your immediate response. And that is where your power lies. Not in controlling the outcome, but in choosing your alignment within the moment. You still have access. You are still in position. You are still at the point where action can keep you fully aligned with what is coming. But that will not remain indefinitely. This is the consequence of delay. Not fear, not punishment, but movement without you if you choose not to move with it. To feel this moment clearly, not as pressure but as clarity, not as urgency without reason but as timing that matters. Because what you do now determines whether you remain connected to what is coming or watch it continue forward while you remain where you are. Type "I will not delay" in the comments if you are choosing to move in alignment now. Blessing code 999 is now activating decisive action and divine timing in your life. Section 10. The activation moment. What you must do immediately. There comes a point, a very specific, undeniable point where awareness is no longer enough, where understanding is no longer the goal, where everything you have heard, everything you have felt, everything that has been revealed to you must translate into one thing: action. And that point is now. This is the activation moment. Not tomorrow, not later today, not when you feel more ready or more certain. Because what has been building through every section, every realization, every shift in your awareness has been leading to this exact threshold. A threshold where knowing must become doing. You have already felt it. An internal shift. That quiet but firm sense that something inside you is no longer willing to stay the same. That something is asking you to move, to respond, to step into a different level of alignment than before. That is not emotion. That is activation beginning. And activation does not wait for perfection. It responds to decision. This is where many people stop. They feel the message. They understand the urgency. They recognize the opportunity. But when it comes time to act, they hesitate. They look for one more confirmation, one more sign, one more moment of clarity before they take the step. But here is the truth Archangel Michael is placing directly in front of you now. This is the confirmation. This is the sign. This is the moment of clarity. There is nothing more coming to make this easier or clearer than it already is right now. And that is why action must follow immediately. Because activation is not about doing something complicated. It is not about making a perfect plan or having every detail figured out. It is about responding to what you already know in this moment. It is about taking the step that aligns you with what is being shown to you, even if you do not fully understand where it will lead yet. That is what faith looks like in action. That is what alignment requires. You are not being asked to see the entire path. You are being asked to take the next step. And that step is not theoretical. It is real. It is immediate. It is something within your reach right now. You already feel what it is. You already sense the direction. There is something specific stirring within you, a movement you have been postponing, a decision you have been delaying, an action you have been avoiding even though you knew it mattered. That is what this moment is calling you into. Not something distant. Something present. Something you can act on now. This is why the energy around this moment feels different. Because it is no longer about preparation. Preparation has already happened. Everything you have gone through, everything you have learned, everything you have felt leading up to this point has been preparing you for this exact activation. And now that it is here, the only thing that remains is your response. Archangel Michael is not asking you to think about it. He is not asking you to analyze it. He is asking you to move. Because movement creates alignment. Movement keeps you connected to the flow. Movement confirms your readiness in a way that thoughts alone never can. This is where your power is fully activated. And here is what you need to understand clearly. Action in this moment does not have to be loud. It does not have to be dramatic. It does not have to be visible to anyone else. But it must be real. It must be intentional. It must be immediate. Because the moment you act, something shifts. The moment you respond, something locks into place. The moment you move, alignment strengthens in a way that cannot happen through awareness alone. This is how activation works. It transforms potential into reality. It turns opportunity into experience. It moves you from standing at the edge to stepping into what is waiting for you. And this is why delay is no longer an option here. Because delay breaks activation. Delay disconnects you from the momentum that is building around you right now. Delay returns you to the pattern you have already recognized, the pattern of almost, of hesitation, of mistiming. And you are not in that pattern anymore. Not after everything you have just seen. Not after everything you now understand. You are in a new position. A position of awareness. A position of clarity. A position where action becomes the defining factor. So do not overcomplicate this. Do not talk yourself out of it. Do not wait for a better moment. This is the moment. This is the activation. This is where everything shifts if you allow it to. Type IACT now in the comments if you are choosing to step into immediate alignment. Blessing code 1010 is now activating movement, clarity, and divine response in your life. There is something you need to feel in this moment, not just understand, not just hear, but truly feel deep within your spirit. Because as intense as this message has been, as urgent as everything has sounded, there is a truth that balances it all, a truth that grounds you, steadies you, and removes any fear that may try to rise. You are not alone in this. You are not exposed. You are not unprotected as you stand in this moment of decision. Archangel Michael is not only calling you forward, he is covering you as you move. This is what many people miss when they hear messages of urgency. They focus on the pressure of the moment, the importance of the decision, the weight of the opportunity, but they forget that divine guidance never comes without divine protection. Never. And right now, that protection is active around you. It is not symbolic. It is not distant. It is not something you have to earn or wait for. It is already in place. It has been in place even before you became aware of what was unfolding. Every moment that led you here, every sign, every warning, every shift hath been surrounded by a level of protection you could not see, but have been benefiting from the entire time. Think about the things that did not happen to you, the situations that could have gone differently, the moments where something could have derailed you completely but didn't. That was not luck. That was covering. And now, as you stand at this threshold, that same covering is intensifying. Because stepping into alignment does not leave you vulnerable, and places you under greater protection. Archangel Michael does not lead you into something without standing guard over it. He does not call you forward and then leave you to figure it out on your own. His role is not only to deliver the message but to defend the path that message leads you into. That is what is happening now. You are being shielded from what you cannot see, protected from interference that could disrupt your alignment, guided through a moment that requires precision with a presence that ensures you are not navigating it alone. This is why fear has no place here. Because fear suggests that you are stepping into something uncertain without support. But that is not your reality. Your reality is that every step you take in alignment is reinforced. Every movement you make in response to this moment is covered. Every decision you act on with clarity is protected. This does not mean there will be no challenges. It does not mean everything will suddenly become effortless. But it does mean that nothing you are stepping into is beyond your capacity because you are not stepping into it by yourself. Archangel Michael's presence is not passive, is active, is deliberate. It is positioned exactly where it needs to be to ensure that what is meant for you remains accessible as you move forward. And here is something even deeper to understand. Protection is not only about what is around you. It is also about what is within you. Because as you respond to this moment, as you act, as you move into alignment, something inside you strengthens. Your clarity sharpens. Your awareness deepens. Your ability to recognize what is right for you becomes stronger. That is protection from within. That is how you begin to move differently, not just because something is guiding you, but because you are becoming more aligned with that guidance yourself. This is how you stay protected beyond this moment. Not by avoiding everything, but by becoming more aware of what aligns and what does not. This is the shift that is happening right now. You are not just being guided through a single decision. You are being elevated into a different level of awareness where protection becomes part of how you move, how you decide, how you respond. And that changes everything. Because once you step into that level, you are no longer navigating blindly. You are no longer second-guessing every step. You are moving with clarity, with direction, with confidence that what is guiding you is also guarding you. That is what Archangel Michael's presence represents in this moment. Not just urgency, not just instruction, but protection. So release any fear. Release any doubt that tells you you are stepping into something uncertain without support. Because the opposite is true. You are stepping into something prepared, something covered, something already aligned with your protection. All that remains is your movement. Type "I am protected" in the comments if you are stepping forward with confidence and trust. Blessing code 1111 is now surrounding you with divine protection and guidance. This is it. Not another build-up. Not another preparation. Not another moment to reflect without acting. This is the point where everything that has been revealed to you becomes real in the most direct way possible. Because what you are standing in right now is a window. A divine window. And it is not permanent. It does not remain open simply because you are aware of it. It does not stay available because you feel connected to it. It exists for a moment, a precise, intentional moment, and then it shifts. This is the part many people never fully accept until it is too late. They feel the moment. They recognize the message. They understand the urgency. But they still believe, somewhere in the back of their mind, that they can return to it later and find it exactly as it is now. But this moment will not repeat itself in the same way. This window will not stay open forever. Archangel Michael is making this clear, not to create fear, but to remove illusion. Because illusion tells you that time is always flexible, that opportunities can be paused, that alignment will wait for you until you feel ready. Truth tells you something different. Truth tells you that timing matters, that moments carry weight, that opportunities move with or without your response, and that awareness without action leads to loss of position. You have come through every part of this message, every realization, every shift in understanding, and now you are here at the final threshold. Not at the beginning of something, but at the decision point of something that has already begun moving. Because the window is not about to open. It is already open. And every second you remain in hesitation, it moves closer to closing. You may not feel the exact moment it shifts. You may not hear a clear signal that it has passed. But you will recognize it later in the absence of what was once so close. In the quiet realization that something has changed. That something that once felt within reach is no longer in the same position. And that realization is what Archangel Michael is trying to protect you from. Because he is not just showing you what is possible. He is warning you about what is avoidable. Avoidable loss. Avoidable delay. Avoidable disconnection from something that is meant to move through you now, not later. This is why everything has led to this moment. Not to inform you. Not to entertain you. But to position you for a decision that carries real consequence. You have been brought to clarity. You have been brought to awareness. You have been shown the pattern, the timing, the alignment, the movement, the opportunity, the risk of delay, the presence of protection, everything you need to understand what is happening. Now, there is nothing left but your response. This is where many stop. They listen, they feel, they understand, but they do not act. And that is where the window begins to close. Quietly, gradually, without announcement, until what was once available is no longer accessible in the same way. But that does not have to be your story. Not this time. Because you are aware now in a way you were not before. You see what is happening. You feel the urgency for what it truly is. You understand that this is not just another moment to pass through casually. This is a defining point. A moment where your response determines your alignment moving forward. This is where hesitation ends. This is where delay stops. This is where you choose to move not because everything is perfectly clear, but because you recognize that clarity has already been given in the way that matters most. And once you move, the window does not close on you. It opens further. It expands. It aligns even more deeply with your path. But it requires that first step. It requires that immediate response. It requires that you do not let this moment become something you look back on wishing you had acted when you had the chance. This is your moment. Your window. Your alignment. And it will not stay exactly as it is forever. So do not wait. Do not delay. Do not let this pass. Move now. Type "I claim my moment" in the comments if you are choosing to step fully into alignment right now. Blessing code 1212 is now sealing your decision and activating your divine path. As you stand in this final moment, understand this with clarity. Every time you respond to a message like this, you are not only securing your own alignment, you are opening the door for countless others who are still searching for truth. This is not about supporting a platform, this is about advancing a mission where light reaches those still lost in confusion. The word speaks directly to you now. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And this is not a distant promise, it is active over your life in this very moment. I declare it with you. I release my seed as an act of obedience, and through it, lives will be touched beyond what I can see. As you give through the PayPal link in the description or the QR code on your screen, you are not donating, you are sowing into a divine harvest, into a flow that multiplies far beyond a single act. This is your moment to move, to respond, to release what heaven has placed in your hands. Give now, act now, and watch how heaven responds with overflow, expansion, and undeniable confirmation.